Once upon a time, in the bustling world of scientific discovery, a seemingly ordinary molecule has emerged as the hero of the century: hypochlorous acid. Curativa Bay hypochlorous acid is a powerful disinfectant, sanitizer, wound healer, and skincare marvel. As the world grapples with the challenges of infectious diseases, from common colds to life-threatening pathogens, the need for effective non-toxic solutions is paramount. Curativa Bay is a game-changer in the fight against harmful microbes. Unlike traditional disinfectants, Curativa Bay hypochlorous acid is proven to be potent, safe, and capable of eradicating pathogens without any harmful side effects. Our infectious diseases that once plagued humanity have now met with a formidable opponent, thanks to the power of this miraculous molecule. Its wide-ranging efficacy includes combating various human pathogens with no associated toxicity or side effects. The scientific evidence supporting these effects is plentiful and is published in the most rigorous and prestigious biomedical and chemistry journals. The titles of these scientific papers are so powerful that for years our big pharma beholden government has suppressed this information and threatened to shut us down simply for citing the benefits of hypochlorous acid in Curativa Bay products. With its gentle yet effective properties, Curativa Bay hypochlorous acid has found its way into countless applications, from hospitals to households, and has become the cornerstone of sanitation. Curativa Bay is transforming the way we approach cleanliness and hygiene, harnessing the gentle power of nature's own disinfectant. Hypochlorous acid is proven to have 80 times the power of bleach. With the remarkable healing abilities of hypochlorous acid, from chronic wounds, routine skin and eye care, to inflammatory conditions, Curativa Bay has a full range of versatile therapeutic products which promote tissue repair and protection, and which alleviate symptoms with unprecedented efficacy. Visit CurativaBay.com and receive a 10% discount using promo code PETE, as well as free shipping for all orders over $50. That's CurativaBay.com. Use promo code PETE at checkout.
America should want to win this war. This is not just an Israeli thing. This doesn't just affect Israel. When you've got Israel fighting a war against terrorism, I don't know if you guys know, after 9/11, America was fighting a war against terrorism for a long time. This is the same war. This is a war against the terrorists that are attacking and trying to destroy the free world, trying to destroy Israel, trying to destroy the West, trying to destroy America, Europe, and they're being fairly successful with it. What this corridor has done is it has made this a war now between Israel and Gaza, the terrorist group of Hamas. Before they took the corridor, you know that this was not a war just between Israel and Hamas. This was a war between Israel and the entire, from Iran to Lebanon to Syria to Egypt, all and more, Yemen, all the countries around the globe that support terrorism were funneling. And this is what is kind of just a new thing that's just out. When I was there, I witnessed what was uncovered was 200 tunnels going from Gaza into Egypt. The whole world was funneling and fueling, rearming Hamas in Gaza. And now, maybe this makes sense, Pete, why Hamas, after nearly 11 months of war, still gets a rocket out every now and then. Just now, Israel has taken that corridor, and there's no more shipments going through those 200 tunnels. It's finished. If Israel moves out of that area, guess what happens again? Well, the whole world can attack Israel. The whole Jew-hating world, the West-hating world, can attack Israel and the West through that corridor. Now, why is America telling Israel they need to give it up? Why is all the Western world? That's what's baffling to me.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a super important update. You know, I want to play this for you just for the heck of it, because I put this in our soundboard. I want you to hear this.
If you will not stand with Israel and the Jews, then I will not stand with you.
Very
Thank
controversial.
you, and God bless you.
Very controversial statement, but I'm going to come right out of the gates, ladies and gentlemen. But people don't like to have the conversation about what side you're on without getting into some knockdown, drag out. But I always say it. My loyalty is, of course, to Genesis 12:3, the Holy Land. And those that bless the Holy Land will be blessed. And it is biblical. And what is going on in Israel is biblical. Now, my next guest, Joshua Waller, is the third oldest of the 11 Waller children. He first came to Israel when he was 14 years old with his family and felt the land and her people grip his heart. Since then, he's been actively involved in field operations in Israel. At a young age, Joshua took on and managed the harvest and pruning trip operations. He also co-hosts the Israel Guys show and speaks across the United States and around the world. He loves to share a good report of the land with everybody that he meets in the same spirit as his biblical namesake. And he is with us right now. We're so honored to have him to give us it's a biblical update every day that passes, as far as I'm concerned, where, the Holy Land is in jeopardy of being wiped off the face of the map. That's what their stated goals are, is an important update. But Joshua, welcome back to the Pete Santilli Show.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for having me on.
It's great to have you on. I was telling you before we came on, I was watching. I mean, war is just a terrible thing. It really, really is. And I don't like it. We could certainly avoid it, but this is certainly one that's going to be almost impossible to avoid because of who the adversary is on the other side. We say, this is an epic battle between good and evil. I mean, this is that battle between an entity. There's no such thing as a two-state solution as far as I'm concerned because of what the adversary on the other side wants. And they want the elimination, I'm going to say, of the Jews and the Christians, ultimately. Yes?
That's right. Well, That's exactly right. This is what their stated goal is. I don't know why the world doesn't listen when an enemy says what they want to do. Why do we want to make up something else? I mean, that's one of the most critical points when your enemy, you should know about your enemy is what they are hiding from you is one thing. That's what the intelligence is for. But what they're stating publicly is a whole nother thing. So what they're stating publicly is that they want to eliminate Israel completely. And next would be America. So exactly what you're saying, Pete. What's hiding? It sounds like a lot of politics going on in the world stage that's keeping the real truth from the public and what's actually going out.
There is. In human interaction, I mean, everybody think of this, folks. You don't need to be a diplomat or anything like that. Interpersonal communication skills with your family members. How do you resolve an issue, whether it be, somebody's got a financial problem, a drug addiction, whatever it is. You really need to get to the core of what the other person, wants for their life. You can't help an addict that doesn't want to help themselves or get somebody out of a financial circumstance that doesn't want to help themselves. We can never negotiate with, I'm going to say, our adversary to who's upon Israel unless you know exactly what their intentions are. And once you get to that, then you realize that there is no negotiation. They're not going to. Their objective is not financial security or getting off of drugs. Their objective is to wipe us off the map. Yes?
Well, I think it's even so much more tactical than that. We've been duped so greatly. I don't know, like I was just down in Gaza, and that's the center of the war efforts against Israel have been waged from inside of that little bitty zone. Everybody's talking about the Philadelphia corridor right now. That's only a 7-mile strip. That's just one little bitty 7-mile border from the Mediterranean Sea to the edge of the Gaza Strip that starts an Israeli border with Egypt for, hundreds of miles. Everybody's talking about this 7-mile strip of border between Egypt and Gaza that now Israel has a 100-meter swath of land that they're holding now in that. Most people don't realize what that swath does. Everybody's saying they're all up in arms about it. They're all saying Israel needs to give this back. They need to move out of there. What is really going on with this? And this corridor is so essential to Israel winning this war. And if you want to take it bigger, Pete, you're talking about that this affects America, which you're exactly right. Which I would like to add, America should want to win this war. This is not just an Israeli thing. This doesn't just affect Israel. When you've got Israel fighting a war against terrorism, I don't know if you guys know, after 9/11, America was fighting a war against terrorism for a long time. This is the same war. This is a war against the terrorists that are attacking and trying to destroy the free world, trying to destroy Israel, trying to destroy the West, trying to destroy America, Europe, and they're being fairly successful with it. What this corridor has done is it has made this a war now between Israel and Gaza, the terrorist group of Hamas. Before they took the corridor, you know that this was not a war just between Israel and Hamas. This was a war between Israel and the entire, from Iran to Lebanon to Syria to Egypt, all and more, Yemen, all the countries around the globe that support terrorism were funneling. And this is what is kind of just a new thing that's just out. When I was there, I witnessed what was uncovered was 200 tunnels going from Gaza into Egypt. The whole world was funneling and fueling, rearming Hamas in Gaza. And now, maybe this makes sense, Pete, why Hamas, after nearly 11 months of war, still gets a rocket out every now and then. Just now, Israel has taken that corridor, and there's no more shipments going through those 200 tunnels. It's finished. If Israel moves out of that area, guess what happens again? Well, the whole world can attack Israel, the whole Jew-hating world, the West-hating world, can attack Israel and the West through that corridor. Now, why is America telling Israel they need to give it up? Why is all the Western world? That's what's baffling to me. They just absolutely do not understand what's going down here, and that you cannot win this war without this corridor. It's extremely important.
All right. Now, sir, with all due respect, and I understand, I want you do great work, and I don't want to talk about anything that's going to alienate anybody, right? So we have to be diplomatic in our conversation. But the way I present this, some people push back, and they're like, oh, my goodness, how dare you? We need to be able to speak to the United States. We need them as an ally. But, sir, I've done some pretty deep research. The Holy Land Foundation trials, and I tracked the money that was being funneled through the Obama administration, through the Department of Treasury. We won't even pick on Obama. We had a U.S. government that had a trick that they used the method of approving money flow through the Department of Treasury to the NGOs. And what ended up happening is the digging of those tunnels and the networks underground. And that was their war infrastructure they've been building up at the encouragement and assistance of the United States of America. Am I wrong about this?
Well, the full funding. No, you're not wrong at all.
Okay.
It's been funded by the West. All those tunnels that everybody talks about and how crazy it is that they're there. And how did they build them? Well, the fueling of that entire thing was done by the West between Europe and America.
Yes.
And even leftist parts of Israel. They fueled that. They fueled it, and they sent the equipment in to build it. Not only the equipment, they sent the materials to build it.
Right.
So that's the outrageous story. And I'll add to it. It's not just that. You're talking about the Obama administration back in the day. It continues today. I don't know if you know this. It continues today with the Biden administration, which is sanctioning.
Yes.
I don't know this. I have friends now that are sanctioned by the Biden administration for being Jews that live in the area of Judea and Samaria, the biblical heartland of Israel. And they're sanctioned for, guess why? Why would you sanction somebody living in Judea and Samaria? Well, you sanction them because they're living in a place called Judea. They haven't done anything. They have a herd of sheep, and it sounds ridiculous, but what I'm telling you is exactly true. The Obama administration sounds pretty light compared to what's going on right now. He was doing things undercover, and there was things going on that what you're talking about, money fueling it. Now it's broad daylight. They're sanctioning people for being Jews that live in certain areas, not because of what they've done, but because who they are.
Really?
That's what's actually
Wow.
going down right now. Yes,
Yeah,
and
and
it's and that's a fact.
there's another.
These are my friends. These are people that I know.
Wow, wow! I never knew that. There's outside elements as well that I'm hearing about most recently from very credible sources with Afghanistan and Taliban. And here's my point: the global war on terror, GWAT, they call it in the military. It's ongoing and has been going on, since we'll use the 9/11 as the line of demarcation. But we have a Taliban that was just given not only equipment and money in a country, and the vacuum was filled with China getting into, that area, taking over the country. We're now shipping upwards of $80 million a week to the Taliban. And what are they using that for? They're literally continuing in the global war on terror and wanting to focus on what's happening in Israel. They're sending jihadists there, are they not?
Well, no, all that's continuing to happen, and it's not only that. We have between Iran. I mean, we got local players. There's a whole list of external players that are not just right on the borders of Israel. But what we have looking at us right on the borders of Israel is so concerning. Mm-hmm. The current politics of the world will blow your mind. Well, are we fighting terrorism? Are we supporting terrorism? There's a real fine like this is what's. Most people think that we're not supporting it, but the facts on the ground show that by demonizing Israel on the world stage, which is happening, anti-Semitism is just incredibly strong right now across the world because of the demonization of Jews, and that's what's fueling these things. So if you go on TikTok, for instance, right now, which I don't know, Pete, you're probably not on TikTok, but if you're on TikTok right now, okay, what's going down right there? What's going down on that platform? There is 1 pro-Israel view to 50 pro-Hamas views.
Wow.
That's the stats. That's what's going down. So this is where we're at right now on a global. I'm not even talking politics. That's just what's, and maybe it is a little bit of politics because of these services that are their bandwidth is geared towards promoting those kind of things. But this is where we're at today. And these are the things that we have to stand up to and fight. It's global terrorism, and it's the support thereof of this global terrorism. The world is falling right into a big trap, and they're falling into the trap because Jew hatred is a very common thing, and it's a historic thing that people hate Jews, and that's just part of it. But now it's being used as a tool in the pocket of the Arab nations around Israel because they know they can get the world to agree on one thing: Jew hatred. It sells. Look on CNN. Yeah. You look on Al Jazeera. The world. These big news networks, they sell the Jew hatred every single day. The poor Palestinian Arab and the Jew that's oppressing them, that sells every day. Is that true? It's false. It's completely false. There's nothing true about it. A violent settler, find one. Name one. They don't exist.
Right.
I live here. That's made up. It's propaganda. It's blood libels.
You know what?
But it sells every single day of the week.
I have you until 10:30, so I want to make sure that we're, and I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but I really want you to tell everybody, A, what it's like to live there at this very important time in biblical history, we'll say, right? A, what is it like being there? Because I told you about my passion to want to go there. It's a very dangerous place, but I still, feel compelled. I feel driven to get there. I want to be baptized in the Jordan River. I do want that. That's still... it's going to remain on my bucket list. What's it like to live there, and where do you see things going as to war? I mean, it's shaping up. It's escalating. Things are not simmering down. Tell our audience.
Well, sure. First off, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else on the planet. This is an amazing place to live. It's an inspiring place to live. We're talking about a lot of the troubles, but as was mentioned in the beginning, I'm a Joshua, and I think there's a lot of people. Pete, maybe you're a Joshua, you're a Caleb too. I mean, there's room for a lot of these kind of views for people. I think when I as I'm here in Israel, I have that lens, that Joshua and Caleb view, that biblical view of the people of Israel. And yes, there are giants and there's obstacles that are in front of us, but many of you are looking past those things. You're saying, hey, we're not stuck in a Look, there's a whole example of what the Israelites went through in the wilderness and all these things with the 40 years and then saying, oh, I'm scared of the giants. No, we're supposed to go into, and Israel's supposed to come in and conquer the land and not be afraid of these giants. There's a biblical story at play here, and we're living in it literally today. So it's the most exciting thing possibly to be a part of this. Those challenges, yes, there's big challenges, but they're not defeating us. They're not defeating the people of Israel. To give you a positive word, the people of Israel, even through the challenges, the daily challenges, losing soldiers. I mean, nearly 700 soldiers have died since the war began.
Oh,
more
is that true?
than 700.
Wow, I didn't know
now,
that. Hmm.
So we've, that it's horrific, and there's major challenges, but the people of Israel are strong. They are continuing to build. They're continuing to advance. The land of Israel is growing. The industries are growing. The people are strong, and they will come back. It's not there's no question about it. The people of Israel are an eternal people, not like other nations that come and go. Israel has a serious promise from God, and that's it's not changed. That promise continues. They're still the chosen people, and if the Jews are not alive, then we've got big problems. That's the Jewish people represent God in the world, and so many people that have Bibles in their hands understand that the Jewish people are more. It's not just another people group in the world. They represent God, and what's happening here today is again a representation of God in the world. It's a fight against evil, brutal evil, and of course I believe that's been represented in an atrocious way. October 7th, and the battle that's taken place here has been very hard, but we're seeing that the light that Israel represents, the darkness that's around them, that light's going to win. That light will win, and I'm very encouraged to live here and be a part of this process of the Jewish people coming back to their land. I've been here for 20 years now, serving the people of Israel, building up the land, bringing volunteers to be a part of that. Couldn't imagine doing anything else.
By the way, I was listening very closely as we start to wind down. I did order my hat, and I got my Temple Mount patch, by the way, at the
good for you.
At the checkout. And
Great
I want to
job.
talk about that because, for those countries or entities, those that are oppositional to our efforts, because we treasure life, we do. I mean, if we were to say, what do the Jews and the Christians share in common? We treasure life. They don't. They are bred to, they've got this fantasy that you die and you get, and I'm picking on them. I'm being facetious about it, but that is the stark difference between us and them. Is they don't treasure life. They want to breed their people to believe that if you get blown up in a suicide bombing, that's a good thing. Where do you see the hotbeds of conflict right now? The temple, is that an important area? Temple Mount right now? Where do you see it?
Well, at the base of it, we have a Western world fighting a religious war without religion, and that's a problem. The Middle East is Muslim, and it's a religious war. If you look at what the Muslims are fighting, is all about the Temple Mount. It's their religious battle. They call the October 7th war, the atrocity. They call it the Al-Aqsa flood. The Al-Aqsa Mosque is on the Temple Mount. For them, this is very spiritual. It's a very religious thing. It's the Jews are dominating land that was once in Muslim hands, and they've got to conquer the whole world with this religious belief of jihad. Mm-hmm. The West has removed religion altogether from their theory of how things work, and that's what's harming us. The Temple Mount, and read your Bibles, guys, is a place where God's presence rested for thousands of years. The temple's rested there multiple times, different times in biblical history. You just look at it. At the brunt of all of this, and I know it doesn't make any sense to Westerners, but at the bottom of all of this lies the war, literally, of will God's presence rest there again, or will it not? Will Jews be allowed to even pray there, or will they not be allowed to pray there? That's the real battle that's actually going on here, and it's all over that. For the Muslims, the West doesn't have a clue that that's even important. If today, win the war today, I'll tell you, Pete, this is how you win. You win the war today. Declare sovereignty over Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, all of Gaza.
Amen.
Israel now has complete control over the whole thing.
Amen.
Anyone that dares to speak against it, they're dealt with just like any other criminal in Israel's normal border.
That's right.
You declare the Temple Mount a place of worship for all nations. How about it? It's free. Jewish people now have a place of worship, and all are invited to come. How about that? That's what the Jewish people want.
That's
what the Jewish people want. That's what they've been praying for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
That's what they've been dreaming of. But yet, right now, it sits in the hands of Muslims that are filled with violence and would want to destroy not only the Jewish people, but the entire world that doesn't agree with them. And that's at the brunt of this.
I'm not going to speak on everyone's behalf. I want to finish on this note. This whole propaganda thing that's fueled and funded, it's just a propaganda effort. And they've got these young children in our universities that just they don't even know. I mean, there's a lot of people that they'll go 1 week, supporting the LGBTQ movement to next thing you know, river to the sea. They don't even know what river they're talking about. And, these are intolerant people. You're worried about oppression. Sharia law is very oppressive, and the children don't even know that in our universities. But, sir, there's nobody listening to our voices. Yourself, I'm not going to speak for you, but speak to this. They refer to genocide. Nobody wants genocide. Shoot, the Palestinians or whoever live freely. But you know what? I want them to temporarily get the heck out of the way so we can destroy those tunnels and the militant infrastructure that it's designed to kill Jews and Christians in the Holy Land. Get out of the way. And they're being forced to stay there so that they can use that as propaganda to call it genocide. Nobody wants genocide, sir. Is that true? I'll let you wrap up here in the remaining 3 minutes on that note. We don't want genocide. We want them to stop their war machine. Do we not?
You're exactly right. And I think, most people are looking at Israel, especially on TikTok, and they're saying, well, what a terrible nation and how they're harming so many people. Well, let's boil down the truth here. Who attacked who? October 7th, this Hamas, these terrorists, and no, it's not just Hamas. There's over 20 terrorist organizations operating inside of Israel, from Hamas to Fatah to there's a whole list of them. You could name, just go online and you'll see this massive list of 20 different terror organizations, and they're all vying for the power of who's going to be the lead. Right now, Hamas is the lead down in Gaza. The Fatah is the lead in the Judea and Samaria. They call it the West Bank. But here, let's boil this down. They attacked Israel on October 7th and caused, and you guys already know, what heinous crimes were committed against the Jewish people. Still to this day, right now, almost 11 months later, there's still Israelis down in deep, deep holes that they've dug in Gaza. And the West is grown they could care less, it seems like. They're not shipping Israel military equipment that's needed to win the war. It seems like this is somehow they're using it to continue some effort that they're not telling anybody about. They're trying to make Israel out to be the bad guy. When Israel, for instance, again, took over the Philadelphia corridor, they're all screaming and crying over it. Why? It's essential for Israel to take this corridor in order to win the war.
That's right.
Right now, because they took the corridor, the Hamas is nearly out of ammunition. Is that good or bad? And I'll tell you Israel's tactic. How does Israel win the war? Do they starve them out? That's what you would think the world would be talking about. And they are. They're acting like they are. 200 trucks of produce grown in Israel go into 200 massive semis every single day. I saw it with my own eyes.
Wow.
Go in there every single day. Do you know where that produce is grown? 80% of that produce is grown in a place called Be'eri. Do you know that that's the actual place that they massacred the most? I mean, that was the communities along the border that they attacked most. Unreal.
Right there.
The horrible.
Wow.
That's where the produce is grown that they're bringing into the terrorism. Are they cutting that off? No, Israel's allowing them to be fed, but they're saying we have to hold this corridor. We have to stop the refueling. Guys who in their right mind would not win the war that way. So everyone that's telling Israel this is not the way to win the war is out of their mind and only wants to continue the war into affinity. If Israel's going to win this, they must hold the ground. They must dry up the weapons that are coming into there. And this, guys, Israel's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Everyone that is against Israel holding this corridor, they're against Israel winning the war. They're trying to tie Israel's hands and allow Israel.
And I promise you, I will keep you
win.
to the 30-minute mark, and I'm not interrupting. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're in very different time zones, and you have a busy schedule. Joshua, I appreciate you coming on. You're not going to hear this from the mainstream media. The foreign minister, right, has said, this is a war. We need to deal with this terror threat exactly as we deal with terror infrastructure in Gaza. Get out of the way. They've spent years and tens of millions of dollars supporting this thing to allow them to perpetrate their terror. Nobody wants genocide. Get the Palestinians out of the way, destroy the infrastructure, let's protect the Holy Land, and only then we can coexist, of course. Joshua, thank you very much.
What if there was a product that could help you control cravings, burn more fat, boost your metabolism, promote healthy blood glucose levels, lower inflammation, optimize insulin sensitivity, support healthy blood lipid levels, and support healthy blood pressure? Introducing Bellatrim. Bellatrim may be the most comprehensive body transformation product in the world. Weight management is more than calories in and calories out. It's about controlling appetite, having a healthier gut, supporting insulin function, stimulating fat-burning metabolism, and promoting healthy blood lipids and blood pressure. A proprietary blend backed by 6 clinical studies. Control cravings. Burn more fat. Bellatrim, powered by nature. Backed by science.
Sign up for monthly AutoShip and get a big discount. Visit pete.bellagraceglobal.com today. That's pete.bellagraceglobal.com. Today!